So our adoption story, do you remember it?
Yeah.
You do?
It was the most terrifying and the most joyous moment ever.
We had a hard time before we came with these two. Our counselor had a hard time having us find a home.
And I spent about 11 and a half months in the orphanage before I was adopted.
I wasn't sure how I was going to be treated or received.
They were so welcoming at ACI. Pam would be sending us videos and pictures constantly.
Jane, the executive director, she is always available.
The woman that picked up the phone was so kind and warm to me that I felt comfortable in trying to learn more and explore more.
Their one-on-one personal communication, talking to you as a human being and not just another statistic.
Since we want an adoption agency that would let us pursue adoption while also pursuing natural childbirth too. And ACI lets you do that, others won't.
I got information about different options, whether I wanted to have the baby and parent or whether I wanted to explore adoption.
I think ACI is there as an adoption family, not as an adoption placement agency.
Through the years of ACI growing into this phenomenal agency that it is, they have learned to embrace not only the adoptive family, but really embrace the birth parent.
They're helping all parties involved.
The mission of ACI is important to me because it's rooted in our children and how to build a family around the child.
I love my family. It's really fun to be around them. If I hadn't been adopted, a lot of the things that I do now wouldn't have happened.
When I look back at how we could have turned out if we weren't adopted, simple things such as having a good education, parents who support you, you understand like this was right, like you're where you're supposed to be.
I would definitely not be the person that I am today if I didn't have any of these experiences and if I didn't have ACI.
We were always happy together, but I didn't know that you could feel this happy and this much joy and, this full.
Thinking back on what, it could have
what our
been
life
there.
would be without ACI.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be this, and that to me, I can't picture that anymore.
The ACI community has been really great. People want to stay around this agency.
They don't stop at delivering the baby. They are there to help you throughout the journey. And they hope that you're there, become part of a family, and to help others throughout the journey too.
You meet a ton of different people with many different stories, and they're all super sweet.
And I think having that community there and their support is important.
And there's a lot of different aspects you can reach out if you feel you need help or more education.
I got so much support from ACI. I was able to find my birth mother. I was able to meet her. I was placed with my wonderful, quirky, crazy family, and none of this would have happened if it weren't for ACI.
Everyone that we talked to there and any of the other waiting families just seems so supportive all the time around us, and it's really, what we needed at the time.
To know that I have a community around me through ACI has been a pretty kind of foundational pillar. I've been able to go to different events and be embraced as a birth mother. I think we're, as a society, still have a long way to go when it comes to how we talk about adoption and what we think about adoption. It was a decision, and it's not a bad decision.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad word. It's actually quite loving.
It is not a decision rooted in selfishness. It is the most selfless decision I have ever made and the most difficult decision I have ever made.
For a birth mother to lovingly give her child up to another family, knowing that that's the best for the child, is the most selfless act I can think of.
If my son was sitting here with me today, I would tell him my decision was because I loved him and because I knew that he deserved to have a family of love and support around him.
That is one thing that my birth mother, Cecilia, said to me, is that she wanted me to have a better life than she knew that she could provide.
For adoptive families, I know at times there's the fear of, especially if you're entering into an open adoption, there's the fear of how are the birth parents going to interact with you? What's that relationship going to be like? But just the fact that we trusted you with our child means that we love you.
Nothing could ever be said or be able to repay them for what they have done for me.
If the birth mom was here, I don't know, I would say, and I guess it sounds a little selfish, but thank you. They're, our babies.
Thank you for trusting us. And
I know that they're loved.
know that they're loved, and we do everything for them that we can.
So I would have to say, just simply thank you, and we are just so grateful.
ACI just means love.